planetary industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
My prepper brothers and sisters, you've arrived at the bunker. Grab a cup of joe, a stout tea, or maybe your favorite adult beverage. This is the prepper's place for open discussion on whatever the hell we want. Brought to you whatever the hell way we want. This is the new format of Top's Bunker. So sit down, kick back, post up, relax, and welcome to the bunker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Military industrial complex.
And we as a people will get to the promised land.
We will make America strong again, proud again, safe again. We will make America great again.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Leave a voicemail to get on the show, speakpipe.com/tops, or use the live message option on our Facebook group, Top's Bunker. Email us at shtf@topsbunker.com. Visit our site, topsbunker.com. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We got a great show for you. Tonight, we're discussing how we change up our prep kits from winter to spring. The gear and preps that we keep in our kits during winter are somewhat different from the items we keep in our packs for the spring and summer seasons. Now, of course, this really does depend greatly on our geographical location. The farther north or south we live from the equator, the more changes in our gear we'll have to make. For instance, if you live in Florida, South Texas, Mexico, or Southern California, your kits may not change as much as, let's say, those of us living in the Midwest or the northern states or Canada. And the same theory goes for Europe and parts of Asia and Africa, and the Southern Hemisphere, like most of South America, Southern Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. The more drastic your climate conditions change from each season, the more drastic your changes will be for your preps and kits. If your location experiences seasonal effects like wildfires, flooding and hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, high winds, and dust storms, well, you'll need to gear up for those as well. And although earthquakes and volcanoes are not affected by the changes in seasons, those of you living within these threat zones should be prepared for them as well. And yes, we do have volcanoes in the U.S. I would imagine if you ask most Americans how many active volcanoes are located in the U.S., you'll most likely get an answer like this. 5 or 10, maybe 15. Would they be correct? No, not even close. The USGS is currently monitoring 169 active volcanoes in the US and its territories. And as far as earthquakes are concerned, around 10,000 people die each year around the world from earthquakes. Guys, it's important to be prepared for the events that specifically affect you at your location and how they change from season to season. We're going to get that conversation started right now, so let's get to it.
It was bottled in 1995. It's a Jim Beam 200 and whatever year anniversary thing, and it was bottled in 95 after it had already aged for 30 years.
Damn. Oh, as somebody who doesn't like drinking, you sure got the good shit, man.
I do keep the good stuff, but I look over and this clown has got my liquor up to his lips and he's drinking from the bottle. And I was like, you fucking heathen.
It's liquor. It's sanitary. Don't worry about it.
And then he wanted to open up my bottle of Blanton's. And I was like, no, absolutely not.
Kind of like what Rhonda does for me. Like she'll bring over like a snack or something, or like we're watching TV, like a big old giant cookie. Before she hands it to me, she'll lick the whole thing with this massive, like tongue lick, like a cow lick. You ever seen a cow lick something? Like a freaking cow licking something. I'm not calling her a cow. I'm saying it looks like a cow.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's bad. And then I'm like, no, I don't want that. She's like, well, I brought this for you. I'm like, yeah, nope.
Yeah, claiming territory. That was done intentionally, man. She didn't want to give you that cookie.
Well, your friend might not want to give you your liquor either.
Yeah, well, and I told him, I was like, please don't ever ask me to mix anything ever again. Please stop doing that.
Well, I just got done. Well, I'm not done, but I just got done for today working on the Ford, and she has a mode door actuator. It's the little motor that changes the doors, the little chutes inside your HVAC system that send it to here or send it to there, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Way up under the dash. It's a freaking pain. It's one of the hardest jobs that I've ever done because I just can't squeeze up underneath that dash like that. And you have to.
Yeah.
So I get down there, I'm doing it. I'm taking I got to take the accelerator pedal off, the gas pedal, all that stuff. Finally, my body's broken, bruised. I'm bleeding. I've got scrapes all over my ribs from the floor. You have this strange angle. You got to get up in there. And I get the whole thing off and I put the new one on. And Ford sent me the wrong one. So I had to put the old one all the way back on again. I could do most things. I mean, I've done the whole entire brake job on her truck, my truck. I've done all that kind of stuff. And, I'm not a very good mechanic, but years ago I did want to go to, mechanic school and all that. Mm-hmm. But my best friend and I were Rob, we were doing something to my mom's car because we thought we were big time mechanics. I think we were changing out the fuel filter or something. Mm-hmm. And we blew the car up in the driveway. I mean, I'm talking about fire engines came. I was in the car with the doors closed and he was outside the car when the thing blew up. And it was like on fire outside and I'm inside. I can see the flames everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
I jump out. The guy from across the street comes running over. He's got his garden hose out and the fire truck's all pulling up everywhere. Yeah. It totally melted down my mom's car in the driveway. So that was the end of my mechanics career. Now, he went on to do great things in mechanics. I think he's like a top dog or was it like Jaguar and all that. He's big time.
Yeah, there's certain things that I think I'll blame it on I never held the light correctly for my dad, but like I don't mess with brakes anymore. I just don't have because changing the actual pads of the rotor, that kind of thing is not that difficult. But every time we would do it and I would do it with my dad, he was like, you gotta bleed the brakes. You gotta pump it more. Hold the light here. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. There's just certain things on vehicles now that I don't mess with, I don't like doing brakes.
Well, they make it to where you can't do shit. Oh my God, you can't even change the oil without dropping, half the engine.
Dude, that's like my truck. I've got a 21 Ram 3500 and I have noticed that my diesel exhaust filter is going through regeneration a lot more rapidly. So, and I'm almost at 80,000 miles on the truck, but there's a simple fix, but they make it so freaking difficult to get to the diesel exhaust injector. It's this little tiny piece, but it's behind the passenger front tire. And so you got to take the tire off and then you got to root around in there to find this little tiny thing. And if you unclip it incorrectly, you're screwed. You're completely screwed. Because I mean, if I got the part from like, the dealership, it's like $500-$600. The thing's only like four inches long. If I go to Doc's Diesel, I can get it a lot cheaper, or you can just take it out and rinse it in hot water to clean off the buildup of the crystals from the def. But I'll never delete my truck, but just to get the diesel exhaust filter off to try to get the buildup of the carbon out, man, it's like brain surgery, dude. It's ridiculous.
That's why I don't mess with shit anymore. That's why I got four vehicles and two of them run. The other two are just sitting idle right now because I can't work on them. I'm not a Chinese rocket surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am, but I just choose not to do the job. So. I'm a pro.
Yeah.
When I was doing the last two posts for the editing, I noticed that Jeremy and I have been very, very rude, and we keep cutting off Buddy like constantly, over and over and over. And it got to the point where I was like, holy shit, we're really doing this. It's like we'll be doing a thought and he'll start to talk and one of us will start to talk at the same time, but he stops. When we're done with our statement, he's already done forgotten what he was going to say.
Yeah.
So if you look at the actual podcast, he's not talking much. He tries to.
I don't think anything about it. I just wait till you're done and like, okay.
Well, we're also speaking of Buddy in the third person when he's first person present. You know?
That damn Buddy.
He also thinks that I'm concerned about his feelings. Oh, fuck his feelings. Look, what I'm talking about is the podcast. I want the product to be good. Okay, he's a big boy. He can handle it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's got interesting things to say, and I feel bad cutting him off. And honestly, he needs to, get those thoughts out. Anyway, if I hear you start to talk, I'm going to try and force myself to stop if I've cut you off.
Let's just do it. We got to be raw. We got to be
raw and unfiltered. So what do you guys think about this signal thing that happened over there at the Pentagon or wherever it was?
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, let's hear something. Let's hear something. I mean, anybody got anything?
I mean, if you're going to jump in, make it girthy right off the top.
Yeah.
Here's my thoughts. I think that the left will look for absolutely anything at all whatsoever to blow up a situation. And they've already confirmed that nothing within the actual text string was classified. There was some mention of movement, but it had absolutely no routes, no vehicle types, no personnel, anything like that. It was just a broad, thing. Now, do I think it was super dumb to not make sure that, everybody who is within that text string is supposed to be there? Yes, absolutely. However, we're human. They're fallible people. Some things are going to get messed up. Is it such a, I do not see it as something that is like life altering, mind shattering, because I've done text strings with people and gone back and looked and I get like a really weird response. And I'm like, oh my God, that person wasn't supposed to be on that. Like you send the most extremely offensive meme to somebody and you realize, they weren't supposed to see that. That's kind of how I see it.
I'll use Signal with business and a lot of other different contexts. I'm trying to migrate away from it, but I've been in Signal chats with a group of people that somebody, asked me to come into, and I don't know half of them. And if I don't know you, especially if we're using Signal, we're using it for a reason. And it's not the most secure thing out there. I'm actually starting to migrate over to another one. It's already in the works. It's already happening to another end-to-end encrypted chat that's better than Signal. Well, it's more secure than Signal. So it's basically not safe. And when you're in a thread, that's the first thing I do now when I get invited into a thread. Who are the other people on the other side? Do I know them? If I don't know them, then I'll go to somebody I do know and say, hey, do you know these people? Are they vetted? And so I think there was a little bit of trust in there involved in this. I don't really think that they're stupid enough. I mean, these guys are career military. They know OPSEC, they know PII, they know things and they're not stupid people at all. They might have put some generalities out there. I have not seen anything, and I started digging a little bit today to find out what they put out there. And coming from the left, especially from the Atlantic, anything they do put out there, I'm not going to trust it. But on the other end, somebody was in that chat that wasn't supposed to. Now, how did he get there? That's the question. Was it malicious? Was it on accident? How was he on there? I mean, that stuff's not hackable. I mean, if you're on Signal, I mean, there's somebody might have invited you in that thought that you were somebody else. I mean, it's that simple, but I don't think that they're that stupid. And if they are, then wow, here we go. There was a high-ranking official years ago that had a private server in her basement and putting all kinds of things out there. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, Signal is not the best for that application, but everyone uses it in that industry. Everyone.
So I guess the question really is were these a group of people that were just talking on their phones with each other like we do on Signal, thinking it's encrypted, so it's fairly safe, or were they actually working at the Pentagon using Pentagon approved software like Signal?
It was a working group chat. It was like, hey, we want to keep you abreast of what's going on. Whoever put it together, we're just having a working group, and I'm sure they got into encrypted stuff. I mean, I think the downward trend of our government was when they took the BlackBerries away, because, they got compromised, but at least there was something at that time where it was fairly safe.
I don't think that it was anything, out of the ordinary. It wasn't some kind of wazoo thing. That's what I don't think so.
It's a big nothing burger is what it is.
Well, here's a funny thing. I'm looking at a Fox News thing online, and it says the judge fighting Trump over El Salvador deportations has been assigned to the lawsuit over the Signal chat leak.
Exactly. So. I just read that too. I'm like, yeah, let's put that dick in charge.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So tonight we're going to be talking about the winter to spring changeup. Jeremy, this was something that you threw out there, that this is the time of year to start changing up some of your gear, your clothing, whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say a spring cleanup, because a lot of people would call it that. But there are a lot of things that preppers, survivalists, homesteaders for sure have to do in the spring to make sure that they are prepared. Yeah. So, Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you got, man?
I actually do like to do the cleaning part too. I don't like to do the cleaning. That's a lie. I hate the cleaning part. But, springtime, the last frost is around this, right around the corner within a few days. And you got to start. And I started thinking about this because we just did the episode about, get home bags and bug out bags and all that. And, being prepared for variances in weather kind of like jump started my thoughts on this one. So how do you get ready to go into spring? It's still kind of chilly though. And I started kind of problem solving with that. And also with food and of course water. So starting with, the typical the threes of survival. The first thing I came up with in regards to, having to have shelter is your tent is always going to be your tent, or your shelter is always going to be your shelter. That particular structure or thing that you use to physically cover yourself and your stuff if something were to happen, that's pretty much going to be the same. But if you do happen to carry a heavier weight sleeping bag, it's kind of time to start thinking about a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to manage. And then I went from there and I went into water. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't drink enough water during the winter or during the cold just because you don't feel that thirsty. It's as important, if not more so, because your body can deceive you. But you got to start thinking about increased water consumption as the weather gets warmer. And
yesterday I spent a lot of the day, and it was a very, very windy day, and I was not thinking about dehydration. It was cool. Wasn't terribly hot at all.
Mm-hmm.
I drank so much last night, like after dinner, that I got up 3 times to pee in the middle of the night. I must have just the wind and everything must have just pulled all that moisture right out of my body.
It does, man. It does. And we've been having a lot of wind here in North Carolina, and it sucks, man. I hate having to fight against the wind. And you're right. It does deceive you. It might feel good. But I always notice the first thing I start to notice is I'm like, man, I'm putting on a lot of chapstick. My lips are dry. I'm ashy. I got to get something done here. And, but the water thing, man, a lot of people, I know people who have not actually had a drop of water in probably years. And I have no idea how they function in life, but people don't drink enough water,
So they're drinking with tea, coffee, soda,
buttloads of soda, all that, the stuff that they think is, actually taking care of their thirst. And it's really not. Yeah. But, so I started thinking about the water factor, and this is also the time when a lot of people are getting ready to travel. spring break is in a lot of places right now. I know one of my daughters is on spring break, and they're getting out there and they're doing stuff and they're having fun. And, you got to start increasing your water intake. Even if you don't want to, you got to drink water. And so going into food, winter foods, the way I see it is you need more calorie dense foods during the winter. At least that's how I feel. Like, and during the summertime and when it's hot, you don't want like soups and stuff like that. But all of a sudden during winter, it's like, man, I really want soup. You got to think about the adjustment into your caloric intake and the types of foods that you're taking in while you're doing physical activity and stuff like that.
It doesn't help that we have 3 holidays. You got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's, all in basically the cold months.
So many calories.
And all that fattening food. And we eat it.
Oh, dude, I love it. I fucking love it. I can't help it, man. It's just something about that rich food during the wintertime.
Right.
Oh, man. Like, I'm already thinking about getting down on a turkey this Thanksgiving. Because turkey season starts in a week and a half here. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But it's just all these, minor different things. And going back to shelter, you have to start thinking about, clothing choices. So, like right now in one of my bags, I've got a fairly, not super duper heavy jacket, but a fairly thick, but it's one of the puffy jackets, so you can stuff it. But when transitioning into the warmer months, man, you wear a puffy jacket. If it's cool one night, you get up in the morning and you're like, you're dying. You're roasting in whatever shelter you may have because those things insulate so well. So you got to start thinking about lighter clothing, still keeping yourself covered. You still got to protect yourself from the sun and all those things, but your clothing choices, like what exactly are you going to be wearing if, something happens? And for instances is like the pants that I usually wear every day are that tech material. I like tech material long sleeve shirts, so I can cover myself from the sun. But I also, when I have like my to-go bag or whatever, I have a little bit of a heavier shirt or a heavier undershirt and a very light jacket. So keeping that layer concept that you use during the winter, but just adjusting it for, your warmer climate. So that's kind of what prompted my my thoughts on that. And, if like we had the conversation about if something were to happen and we were out, we were talking about during the winter. Now take that and add about 30 to 40 more degrees on top of that, and you're hoofing it, and you got weight on your back. Then you really get challenged, how much water do I really need to have in this versus, another 18 magazines for my gun. Do I need to start thinking about, what makes more sense, and that goes to your EDC as well. I actually have this is stupid, but I have a winter gun and I have a spring summer gun. I know it sounds silly, but I do. Spring summer gun is because when I'm in index carrying, it's a little bit more difficult to not have a silhouette of the gun underneath my shirt because I'm not wearing a jacket. I'm not wearing something heavy, and I don't want the outline to show underneath my shirt. So I have a different gun that's a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to manage. And that's kind of how I think about that.
Yeah, I did that in Texas. I started carrying, I had a Glock 17, which is the full size Glock. And I wanted to move down to a 19, but they didn't have any in stock the day I went. And I was like, let me try that 26. It's tiny. Glock 26 is really tiny and holds 10 rounds. One of the chambers 11, but it's really small. Well, I started carrying that. I bought it and I started carrying that for my summertime because it won't. You can hide it a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I've never gone back. I just love that little gun, and that's what I'm comfortable with now.
Yeah, and you're a lot bigger than me, and I think you probably have much bigger hands than me. I've got small hands. I'm not gonna lie; they're like weird kind of ashy sausages. Is really what they look like right now. But but A buddy of mine sold me a Springfield Hellcat, and I absolutely love that thing. I love it. It shoots so well, and a lot
Isn't
of
that
people
a big gun?
No. Springfield Hellcat's a
The Hellcat. Okay,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
They have a Hellcat and the Hellcat Pro. I just have the Hellcat because I'm not bougie, but it is perfect size for my hand. It's still 9mm. It's a double stack magazine, carries plenty of ammo, shoots straight, shoots well. It's easy to shoot, and people talk trash, on different. Oh, I'm a Glock dude, but Glocks are great and all, but then you start getting like Glock fanboys, or it's got to be this kind of gun. It's got to be the SIG. I don't want a SIG blowing up in my damn face. I like Springfield. I've never, ever once had a malfunction or any issues with my Springfields, and I have several.
That's a great manufacturer.
I mean, and people are like, "Oh, dude, it failed after 73,122 rounds." Well, did you clean it? Are you taking on a battalion by yourself? Like, what are you training for realistically? An average gunfight's going to be 2 to 5 seconds, maybe a maximum of 7.
If you're lucky.
And that's like extended. So, okay, 70,000 rounds. Oh my gosh, it had a jam because you didn't oil the damn thing. I mean, I don't know what to say. People who talk trash on certain things versus others.
Clean it.
Yeah, and also going back to our love of fanny packs, it fits perfectly in all of my fanny packs.
That would be your love.
So are you going, you said you're switching everything. Are you your accessories, or are you going to a more summary, print for your accessories, your fanny pack? And
I'm still very basic in colors.
He's doing floral.
I mean, I'll just put it to you this way, man. I've seen some guys out there. I don't judge. I'm not one to judge. But if the gray man concept was, how do I say this, included a little bit of sachet, these dudes would fit in perfectly. You would not be able to tell that they're carrying, other than the fact that I know, like I have a buddy of mine. He's got a Louis Vuitton or whatever that brand is. Yeah, it looks like an enlarged fanny pack that you wear across your chest or your back. And I saw it and I was like, dude, that is so dumb looking. And I was like, wait a minute, because I looked and I saw this edge on the outside of it, and I looked and I was like, what you got in there, dude? And he had a full size what is it? I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was a Glock or whatever gun, but the whole thing was in there, and plus 2 or 3 extra magazines. And I was like, you know what? I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
So when you say and by the way, I do like to judge. It's fun. But when you say fanny pack, are you talking about like the things you used to use like in the 80s and the early 90s? Or are you talking about like tactical, you can put them on your side, your back, and they've got Molly and all that? What exactly are you talking about?
Dude, I'm going to tell you, man, my love of fanny packs has never died from the 80s. I love them.
Wow. Okay.
I do. But yes, you are correct. And I prefer to wear mine. I have several, one black, one OD green, one coyote. I have all the normal colors. The only one that I have that has a bunch of either Velcro or, Molly on the outside, I actually, I use it a lot on my contracts, but I re-rigged that, where I have it on the back side of it. There's Molly loops, and I actually attached 2 M4 magazine carriers, on the back side. And then I kind of reconfigured the front to where I can hang stuff off of it. And that one's large enough where wearing it on the back just makes a little bit more sense, unless you have to get into some kind of action. Right. And then I liked it so much, I bought another one, and then I included that on the back of my battle belt. So I actually I removed the excess webbing around the straps, and I actually attached that to the backside of my battle belt, kind of like an old butt pack. Yeah.
But Rhonda bought me 3 packs recently. I guess it was for my birthday or whatever. But the one's a sling, another one is kind of a sling, the other one is a fanny. And I looked at it, I was like, that looks like a fanny pack, but it's so big that it fits on my battle belt. So it's like, it works great. You can put it around your back. You can put stuff in it that you wouldn't usually need to use, but you want to carry with you. Mm-hmm. You can right on your belt. But and I love slings that go across your chest or across your back. But she also gave me this other one that's kind of a sling, but it fits like sort of under your like right or left chest, almost like a shoulder holster, where it fits like kind of on the side under your arm a little bit. And I just can't I'm not comfortable with it. So I'm not gonna wear it. I had to ask because one of the ones that she got was, I consider it a fanny pack because it goes on your belt, or it doesn't wrap around your body, but it definitely goes on your belt.
I'm wearing one every day. I wear a 511. And it's for my compact gun. It's Glock 43X. I'm not a Glock guy either. A buddy of mine had it, and I kind of like you got your Hellcat, and I was looking for a Hellcat, and this came about, and I thought, well, you know what, I'll pick it up because the price was right. Maybe give it to one of my daughters, and liked it so much, I kept it. The only thing I don't like about it is my sausage fingers. I have a hard time getting in the mag well. I mean, in the trigger well, and but it fires good. It fits in my hand good.
I am a total Glock fan, but I'm not a Glock boy, where I like all guns. I'll shoot them all. And there's so many that I absolutely love out there. And I started shooting Glock because I started watching Hickok 45 videos a long time ago, back when, way back. And, Hickok 45 is a Glock guy. He's got every single Glock you think of, probably two of every one of them. And I just loved it so much that's what I started with. And now that's what I'm comfortable with. How did we get onto guns?
That's what we always do.
Yeah, that is actually. So back to fanny packs. No, but I typically have a backpack, and I typically have a fanny pack because I like them so much. But I also, like, depending on, the time of year and whatever it is that I'm doing, I will travel with a plate carrier and a chest rig. It's a very simplified chest rig. It's very simple. But that would be like, the proverbial shit has hit that fan, and I got to get home on my feet, and I'm going to, have to hoof it and fight it all the way back home. So those are kind of the things that I thought about. And it's not just, springtime isn't just about your EDC, and it's not just about this. We do a lot of stuff about gardening, and that's kind of what really started prompting all of this. And I'm outside working, and we got stuff going in the greenhouse, and I was like, man, it's hot out here. But then that night it was down in the 40s. I'm like, freaking hell, I'm cold. And then I got back up, and it's up in the 60s and 70s the next day. And like tonight, we got to make sure everything's in there and good and tucked in, because it's supposed to get down to like 35 tonight. So these are those variances, especially during the springtime when it gets really weird, that you have to think about. I could be cold and I could be hot. You have to have that in between during the springtime. Summertime's kind of easy because you're dressing for warm weather and protecting your skin. But springtime, there are people, especially military schools. There was a soldier who was in Ranger School many years ago, and it was summertime down in Florida, and they do a lot of water crossings and stuff like that. And he ended up getting hypothermic and died. And that was during the summer. So
yeah, I had a buddy that was in that class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, stuff happens, but it's trying to be prepared for a lot of different changes. And that's the big thing about spring. It's all about change during spring. The earth is renewing itself. Your body is renewing itself. It's coming out of that fat slumber from the winter. And, this is also a time to really start looking at yourself. And if there are things about your actual body, that you need to start correcting, like more exercise and stuff like that, this is really the time that a lot of people actually start doing that, because it's not just about summer bod. It's about maintaining a level of health and fitness that if you do have to get out and get your family out, you're able to do so. So, yeah, man.
So, buddy, what are you thinking about for spring?
Man, Jeremy hit a lot of the points there. I'm going to rotate my water out of my truck. Going to add electrolytes, a lot more electrolytes. Man, I'll drink 2 or 3 electrolyte drinks a day, just because I'm a sweater. I just
use powdered.
Yeah, the powder type. I usually liquid IV. I found that's just my stuff, man. I like the way it tastes. It works for me. I used to buy some cheaper stuff, and it just didn't. I tend to cramp a lot, and with the electrolyte drink, with the liquid IV, it's got what I need. Whatever formula it is, it works for my body. So stick with it. I'm dumping that heavy sleeping bag from the truck like Jeremy did, throwing in a poncho liner, and putting in my poncho for makeshift shelter, and then
Don't say that too fast, man.
makeshift shelter.
At least not in church.
Yeah. So it just downsizing a lot of things. I'm gonna go ahead and keep my packable down jacket and watch cap and gloves in there. Now my big thick winter gloves will go. I'll just keep a pair of thinner gloves, just in case at night I get have to hoof it, and I'm on the way home and it gets a little cooler at night where I can put it in the pack and still use it if I have to. We call it a RON in the military, rest overnight. I'm taking my wool blankets out that I had in there, putting them back up in the closet. Snack wise, time to rotate them out. Get your power bars that's been sitting in there all winter, and my jerky, and put those to good use while I'm working outside, and put some new stuff in there. I'm going to change my wipers out on my truck, rotate the tires of the truck. Noticed looking at my tires, man, I noticed I picked up a lot of nails and stuff. Luckily, I haven't had any flats or slow leaks, but I picked up a lot of stuff in my tires. So time to get that stuff fixed, change the oil, those kind of things. Let's see, what else? Also, I'm going to add my boonie cap in there, just in case I do have to hoof it. One of the things people don't think about, it's like, well, I got my tennis shoes, to walk home in, or, we talked about that in the other episode, where you want to, have something over your ankles and stuff. But what people don't think about is a cap. You need to keep that sun off your face, because, those are the kind of things that, you just don't look at. And it's going to take its toll on you if you get out in the sun, 8 hours or so, and you're not used to it.
Yeah, take a look at any pro, like fisherman, like angler, not somebody who does a hobbyist, but actual pros. They're wearing long sleeves and hats out in the sun. Now these might be like really thin, like moisture wicking, super lightweight shirts, and they're what do they call those? Performance type material, but they're still long sleeve.
Yeah, that the 50 rateable 50. What do they call that? Where SPF 50 shirts.
Right.
I migrated to those a couple years ago. I'm that guy at the beach that has that on, looking like an old man with my Crocs and socks with my
I got a
SPF
camera
shirt
one
on
that I love.
Yeah, and I'm wearing one right now. I wear them every day, all day long. It's just, I don't know. I don't need to go out there and suntan anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me neither.
It's just,
and I like the Carhartt Force. I'm wearing the long sleeve Carharrt Force right now.
I love those.
Moisture wicking. You like them, right? They're good.
Man, I found those this winter. I got one on sale I think I was at Tractor Supply. Shameless plug there, but yeah, those are badass. I love them. Yeah. What else? Like he's saying, spring is that time where we need to start. We're changing things up. It's another time, and I use the, spring forward, fall back. I use that time change as a kind of like a springboard for doing certain things, like changing out your 9-volt batteries in your fire alarm, and just certain things. It sets a trigger to me to do, because it's a changing season. So I just use that to change up a lot of things. But there's not a lot of drastic stuff that really. I carry the same stuff in my get home bag, bug out bag, whatever you call it, for the most part. But it's just a matter of dumping it out, putting some more things in, taking some things away. Really, the weight doesn't change so much. You can take more water in your bag now that you've got that, sleeping bag out of there. Still going to carry 18,000 knives, so, and a hatchet and a saw and all that good stuff. But
I agree with you on all that. And I knew that you guys would come up with, a great list of items to change up for the spring. The one thing I wanted to mention on my end, and I'm assuming you were finished, buddy, so to cut you off.
No, I'm good.
Beekeeping. I wanted to mention that. I'm not going to go into the whole thing about it. I'm just going to do real quick. This is the time of spring is the time of year you want to get this thing going. Now, I know a lot of homesteaders. I'm a beekeeper. I know a lot of homesteaders and a lot of preppers. Some preppers are doing beekeeping. There's a lot of us who really want to get into beekeeping. Well, right now, this very moment, this is when you want to do that. You want to place your order for your bees. You can get bee packages for anywhere from like 150 to 190 bucks. You can get live nukes, which are like fully established bee boxes, and they come with frames of eggs, larvae, capped brood, which are babies about to come out. They come with a queen that's already been bred, which is really good. And they usually cost about $190 to $250 a piece. But those, they're going to be established. You're going to be able to get honey out of them, most likely get honey out of them probably in July or even August, which is really great. You want to maybe take some beekeeping classes. I did. It's very, very helpful. Of course, jump on YouTube because there are tons of beekeepers out there that are just training people all day. So much to learn. I would say start looking at equipment. You want to order your equipment because you want your equipment to be here by the time your bees get here. So you can have your bees shipped in like I did in the mail. Nukes can't be. You have to pick those up. They can't ship nukes because they've got honey and they've got things like pollen and different things that I guess are not allowed to cross state lines and things like that. So they don't allow that. But the bee packages they do, and I had mine shipped to me. And you want to have all your bee equipment, your boxes, deep broods, your supers, all of your tools, queen excluders, your clothing. You want to get your bee jacket or suit, whatever you prefer to wear. Get all that ready to go before your bees come. And you want to set up your hives before they get there as well. So we'll do a lot more on beekeeping because I know it's a popular thing, and honey is one of those things that, if you're a prepper survivalist or a homesteader, you've got to have. It basically lasts forever. It does not go bad and can be used for many, many different things. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that about beekeeping. If you're gonna get into it, now's the time to do it.
I don't know why it seems weird, when I hear you talk about ordering bees. I don't know why that's such a foreign concept to me. Like, I'm going to order this thing that makes super awesome honey, but can also sting the living shit out of you. Like, like, I don't know why.
Did you ever order ants out of the back of the comic book when you were a kid?
No,
I never did.
I'm from South Texas, dude.
We caught ours, but I mean, they were in there, and I
remember that. Yeah.
No, wait a minute. I did do it once because I wanted to see if
you can get like the bee farm and then order the ant farm, and you can order the ants and everything. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't do it, but I remember it.
Yeah, they'd send you these black ants, and then I had these big red ants. So yeah, I'd let them battle it out. So
ordering bees it's a very strange thing. And I ordered 15 pounds. They come in 3-pound boxes, cages, and they are double lined, so handlers can't get stung by them. But they are coming in the mail. And I actually called the post office and said, hey, I got bees coming in, this and that. And they said, we'll let you know. We'll let you know when they get here. And we do this a lot, so we'll take care of them. And I went down there, and they're like, yep, they're around back. So I just drove around the back of the thing, and they're sitting there on the dock.
Amazing.
Threw them in my truck. Yep.
Now, if you told me it's time to order some sea monkeys, I'm down. You reminded me of, like, in the old when you got comics and they have the ads and stuff. It's like, order your sea monkeys. My mom actually got them for us once, and so you put them in the water and they start doing their thing. All they are is just brine shrimp. They're just brine shrimp. And I remember I was like, so where's the little king dude? Where's the queen? I don't see any of that in here. They're just squiggling around. They look like mosquito larvae. Like, this is dumb, dude.
I would encourage everybody to get into beekeeping if you can. We really do need it. Bees are having a really tough time this year. And I can tell you that from firsthand experience, but the commercial growers are 80% losses over 24, 25. And hobbyists, backyard beekeepers like myself are at 50% loss this year. And that's exactly what I lost 50% of my bees this year.
Why is that?
They don't know. They have been studying it. Every single university, they're all studying it, trying to figure it out. And they just can't figure it out.
Is glyphosate, is that killing them out, or what is it?
Could be like a bunch of different things. They're just not sure, but it's completely in line with what happened. I had 4 big hives and I lost 2 of them. So yeah, I've got mine going. But when you get bee packages, one thing to remember is that when you get bee packages delivered, those are unestablished bees. So they have to work before they can produce. You're not going to get the packages and have honey 2 or 3 months later. You're probably not going to have your own honey for the first whole season. Not going to get it till the following year because they've got to build out the comb. They got to, they got to do all that. It's a whole process. So if you want like established bees, you buy the nukes, but you have to go pick them up in person.
I got a buddy that started his, he's going on a second year now. So I'm anxious to see, how his comes along.
And he's in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to get into it, but I've moved 30 minutes away from my land. So I don't know that I'd want to make a daily trip out to check them.
Oh, you don't have to make a daily trip. You check them probably once every couple of weeks.
And I might go ahead and do it and have him maybe, teach me as we go along with it.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but he's only on his second year, so he doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. So
sure. Yeah. And they say it takes at least 3 years of beekeeping to actually really get your feet on the ground, to get your sea legs, so to speak. Because there's a lot that happens in beekeeping and it's not an everyday chore, but the things that do come up, throughout the year, you've got to do, or you're going to kill them or they're going to leave. But, I'm comfortable now going out without my suit and without gloves and just working with the bees. I still wear my jacket every once in a while and stuff like that, especially depending on what day it is. If it's really hot and it's like late in the afternoon, I'll wear it because they get pissed off pretty easily. But I'm going to have some honey in a couple months.
Man, ooh, I love honey.
We really want to get into bees too, especially after finding those wild honeybees in our honeysuckle. But I don't know why I'm drawn to this particular product. It's from Flow. It's a father-son company from New Zealand, and it's a pre-made combs. So you introduce your bees, they go in, they build the wax, and then when it's time to harvest the honey, you just turn the key. We really want to try those, but they are quite expensive.
Wow. The Flow hives are really, really cool. They're extremely expensive, which is why I don't have them. Mm-hmm. But they're really, really cool. And once you get established, man, you just walk out there and you turn the key, and all of a sudden the honey just starts pouring right out.
Yeah,
it's amazing how it works. It's actually ingenious how this father-son team built these things, but they are very expensive.
Yeah, I think though for me. Just getting into it would be so much better for me personally than having, to go through the process of the box, lifting, each individual cell and doing all those things. But I really want to do it because I really want to have our own local honey, without having to spend gobs of money for every jar when we can spend a gob of money up front and then, potentially have access to our own honey, for a long term. That's but I mean, they are, even the most basic one is, it's over $1,000 US. So,
damn.
Well, yeah.
For what? Oh, you mean for the Flow hive?
Yeah, for the Flow hive. Yeah. And then they have different bundles, and, they have a starter bundle. And I'm going to correct myself. The starter bundle is US $888.
Yeah, it's still close.
Yeah, and then they've got several different variances.
It's mechanical.
Yeah,
it's a whole mechanical system. Everything is plastic, and they got the comb is all plastic and everything, and the bees sort of draw out comb from it, and it's just a whole process. It's really interesting how they do these things, and I want to own one day just to see how it runs. But it's like a machine rather than a hive. It's like a machine.
Yeah.
So Keith, what do you have for like the pollinators around there? Are you planting flowers, or is there a wild flower field out there? I mean, what's What's feeding those bees?
Yeah, so I've got 3 acres. My bee yard's 3 acres. And I just, luckily, when we bought the place, there happened to be a 3-acre field that I guess was something at one point way back when they built this property. The rest is all woods. But I've got that field, and we did plant wildflowers out there, but the bees don't need that. You don't have to plant pollinators. We are planting pollinators for the garden, and the bees love it. But bees fly anywhere from 3 to 5 miles every single day to forage. 5 miles. Think about that. So you don't have to have flowers right out in front of their beehives. They're going to pass them right up. They'll use them a little bit, but they're going to pass them up. And they're going to keep on going.
I know people who wouldn't even consider going anywhere for 5 miles unless it was in a vehicle.
They have incredible facial recognition and spatial recognition, geometric, magnetic sort of brains, and they know how to come back to the hive. That's another thing to think about. If you get beehives and you buy a property, it has to be 3 miles away or more from your beehives, because a beehive, it can't be moved. There's a 3 foot, 3 mile rule. If you're going to move your beehive, you can only move it 3 feet from its original position or 3 miles away and farther. Because the bees will never be able to find it. If you moved it 4 feet away, they'll never find it and they'll leave. It's the weirdest thing.
That's
5
weird.
feet away, they won't. Now I've seen YouTube channels where people have moved them like 5 inches, like every day, little by little by little by little by little, till they get to about 10 feet away where they wanted it to go, and it's worked. But for the most part, the rule is 3 feet or 3 miles. Anything in between that, you can't. So if you buy a property that's a mile away and move your bees, they're gone. You're going to get all new bees. They're not going to be able to find. They're going to leave the hive and they're going to fly away, and they'll probably go back to your original place.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, they just know. It's crazy.
That's weird, man.
And they travel out like let's say a mile or two, and they find a nice grove of flowers, and then they come back. They do a waggle dance, which is telling all the other bees, this is what I found, either water or foraging.
Right.
And then they stop and point in a certain direction and somehow translate that information to the other bees, and the bees all take off out and they find it.
So they go twerk. And then
exactly. That's exactly what they do. They twerk.
Man, that's going to be in my mind all night, dude.
They do a twerk dance, and then they point their finger and say, "Go get some."
There's some serious beekeepers out there. They're going to have problems with you calling it twerking, man. It's called the waggle dance, and that's what they don't call twerking.
Now, don't they also do something like where they're basically like they fly and it almost looks like a figure 8? Like they have certain flight patterns when they get near their nest and they do a thing.
I've not heard of that.
Maybe those are, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it. But now, how far apart do you have to, like, is each hive like their own, like that's their hood, you know?
Yeah, and they know it. They know it. My hives are 18 inches away from each other. Some people put them right up against each other, just a couple of inches. But they know their hive, and when they get to that area, they can also smell the pheromone of the queen.
Now, is there ever like turf wars, gang wars?
There's robbing. There's all kinds of robbing that goes on, and you'll see it. Like bees will come out of one hive and go into another, and those bees will kick them out. Like you'll sit there and watch the front of your hive, and you'll actually see bees carrying a bee out and like tossing it. It's crazy, man. I'm going to film some of this stuff. It's crazy.
Damn, even the bees are Bloods and Crips, man. Well, that's crazy.
Yep. You got bee bouncers. You got a bee club there. We start twerking too much. Then
every single, all the bees have a job, and the job is decided on their age. So as they born until they die, as they age, they change jobs. Oh. Each job has so. The ones that will sting you are the ones that are going to be like watching the hive. If you're out in the yard and there's bees flying around, they're not going to sting you. Now, if you went over and grabbed one and tried to mess with it, it'll probably sting you. Yeah. You can let them land on your hand. People are so afraid. You can let them land on your hand, catch them. They will not hurt you, man. Unless you try to mess with them or squeeze them or try to slap them away or something. Yeah. They're out there to forage. They're not out there to be aggressive. They're out there to forage.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like to take pictures of bees when they're actually in the flowers and they're doing their thing. And I think it's I don't know what it is, but when a bee, especially I can't remember what they're called. We call them bumblebees, but not the wood, the carpenter bees, but the smaller ones. They'll get in there and they'll get into a flower, and it's like, I'm just going to take a nap right here. And then you see a bee butt sticking out of the flower and it's covered in pollen. I think that's hilarious. So I take pictures of stuff like that.
My prepper brothers and sisters, as we shift from winter's chill to spring's unpredictable mix of warmth and storms, remember, preparedness is about adapting. Take the time to audit your gear. Swap out the heavy layers for breathable wind, sun, and rain-ready options. Check those expiration dates and rotate your caloric choices. And while you're at it, fine-tune your first aid and EDC for the spring season ahead. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.